Amigos, amigas, another edition of Monday Night Football. Welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm Wisa from FootMex Nation. This is an hour-long podcast dedicated to all things Mexican football and Mexican soccer, whatever you like to call it. Mexicans abroad. We talk Liga MX and much, much more. We're going to start right in with our question of the day and go right into it and say hello to the guys. If you could choose the hashtag Mexico to use for its World Cup social media campaign, what would it be? Now, assuming that Now We Are Talking is not on the table. And we'll start with Mr. Tom Marshall in Guadalajara.
Pressure first up.
Don't mess up, Tom. Don't mess up, man.
I'm like nervous then. It's like being back at school. Not me. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go for a big one. El Tri Ing. That one. Hey?
It's original.
It's creative, man. It's
Authentic.
really creative, man.
I know I've not been that creative with that. Obviously, you can think of something. I think there must be one that kind of plays on the US not being there. A clever one, not completely in your face, but like a cool, America's team. I don't know. I've not put my finger on it yet, but
Hashtag at least we qualified.
First one.
So what it is on Twitter at BoyWhoGoesWest told us hashtag 2 nations, 1 team. So I think that's what you're getting at, Tom.
Yeah, there you go.
Pretty sure that's FootMex Nation hashtag.
I'm going to get copyright on that yet? Because you better do it quick.
I'm just going to throw that out there.
But yeah, with El Tri, the only half serious part of it is that the ball's already got rolling. You know what I mean? With it, people are already using it, and it's been it's worked out as a really nice center to see coverage of the Mexican national team in English. And I don't think people are going to use the hashtag Now We Are Talking to do that.
Now we are.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go to Mr. Naib en la Ciudad de México, en el defectuoso, en el DF.
Aquí mero en el DF, Wiso. Buenas noches, Wiso, Tom, Jason, Cesar. I go with hashtag always en las buenas y malas. Because it's always the case. I mean, it's been since 1994, round of 16 exit. I mean, and I think Mexico is lucky to have one of the best, following groups in the whole world. I mean, I just think it's the expression, the color, and they're always there in las buenas y en las malas. I mean, I think that's something to note, and I think that's what I would go. Hashtag always en las buenas y malas.
It's a long hashtag. Jason.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking we've seen the underdogs have success lately. And I think that Mexico needs to kind of take on the nobody believes in us kind of mentality going into this. So I think the hashtag should represent that. Well, more or less. But I mean, I think that take on the underdog mentality and shoot for the ultimate, right? So I mean, I think it's just it's Septimo Partido, right? It's not the 5th game, it's the 7th, right? You're going all the way.
Whoa,
7th, right?
And
aim for the best. Why not us? Kind of approach to it all, and that's what the T-shirts should say. Underneath the shirts and stuff, once I pull them up and celebrate the goals. Why not us? Septimo Partido going on.
Why not us? I like it.
Nice. What was the one for the World Cup 3 years ago? What was it? It was something. Everybody had the hashtag, and
I forgot what it was.
Trivia for you guys out there listening.
Maybe because we don't remember it, that means how lame it was, because we just don't remember it all.
It wasn't Guerreros or Incondicionales. It was something that they used that I was like, all right. Cesar, San Diego, Tijuana area. Welcome.
Thank you. I've got a few ideas here. I couldn't think of just one. My first one is hashtag just happy to be here.
That's Jason's like the complete opposite of Jason, and we deserve it.
I also have hashtag more blue pen, less red pen. And then my final one, a controversial one, is that goalkeeper chant is dumb, so let's just stop it.
Like a little bit.
Yeah.
Really quick, Tom. Yes, quiero creer was the was I think Amy gave it to us. That's what Tom's saying. Yeah, quiero creer, this is kind of reminded me of the one you said, Jason, with the I believe, but I remember that. I remember. I painted my face and I put that hashtag on there. Thank you, Amy.
What was Cesar's again? Somebody should tweet them. What are they?
Yeah, so hashtag just happy to be here. Hashtag more blue pen, less red pen. And hashtag that goalkeeper chant is dumb, so just stop it.
No,
the last one is epic, eh?
That goalkeeper chant is dumb, so let's stop it.
Second one, though.
All right. Well, Jason, what we tweeted it out earlier today from the Mexican Soccer Show. What did it say?
So we had a couple show up on Twitter. They're pretty good. Nunca fue penal. We had hashtag Lozano take us to glory. Cuarto partido. We had Julie give us some depressing ones like the Titanic and other kind of just. There's a whole bunch of ones that were there, just kind of bummers. Gordino gives us the hashtag mama we made it, and hashtag now my non-Spanish speaking primos can follow El Tri, and hashtag America's real team out there.
There it is.
Senor Batista gives us hashtag Osorio will coach the whole summer, deal with it. And Tim Chris gives us hashtag OM3. Kind of an OMG takeoff.
OM3? I like it. Yeah. I like it.
So there you go.
OM3. That's good. Good job, guys.
I'm not sure the Federation would go for any of that one.
All right. Well, we start the show off having fun, making sure that we. I really think that they will come up with a hashtag. It'll be in Spanish, and we'll see where it goes. I quiero creer one was. I thought it was all right. We'll be good. But all right. Well, today we have a lot on the show to go over. Lots of El Tri content. We're going to be talking, giving out some a fun way called the over and under game with Jason and everyone here that's going to give us an over and under. You're definitely welcome to participate. We're going to talk about Liga MX and the craziness. If you watch that Chivas game in Pumas, I'm sure we mentioned it. What's happening in Veracruz and the Ascenso and the relegation, and we'll also touch a little bit on the Champions League and round it off with the Mexicans abroad. So you definitely want to stay throughout the whole thing. We have lots and lots of fun stuff for you guys. So let's go ahead and just get started. Jump right in. El Tri, and the game time is called El Tri Over and Under. We're gonna give 6 scenarios, and the way that you work is I'm gonna give you a subject and then give you a number. So you got to pick between over or under. So, for example, we're going to start with A. Matches remaining in the playing career of Rafa Marquez. The experts, Jason, put it at 8.5 matches. And we'll start with Mr. Naive right away. How many more matches are left in Liga MX season?
I say under.
You're going to say under?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So he doesn't make it to the end of the Liga MX season, right? Because there's only how many 8 matches left?
Yeah, 8 matches and the injuries as well. No, I think his time as of late hasn't been so pleasant. Dealing with all the legal stuff he has to do. Keeping the focus on the game is difficult. He has to keep conditioning. It has to be repetitive, and I don't think he's been doing that repetitively. And it has affected him dramatically. And I think we saw it in the last game. I think Tom was there in the Monterrey game.
Yeah, I mean, there's if you look online, there's like quite a good video with Gary Neville, the Manchester United and England defender, who he talked about the moment he knew his career was over. And he was in a game, I can't remember against who, and he just got beat. He was a right back, and he just got beat consistently during the whole half. And he was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I'm just not at the level that I need to be at. And I think Rafa Marquez in that game against Monterrey gave away 2 penalties, sees a red card. I don't know. He just that tackle on Aviles Hurtado. It was just almost like that's what Rafa is now. And he's only played 14 games since last summer, since the Confederations Cup. Obviously, he's had his legal issues, but he's had a couple of injuries then as well. And I just think that the World Cup isn't on the table even without the legal stuff. I mean, unless it's a kind of sentimental, let's get this guy to the World Cup to give him 5 World Cups, which that's entirely possible. But I think now from a playing standpoint, I mean, and I've loved Rafa. I've been, for a few years, other people have been saying, we need to replace him, and obviously you want to see someone come through. But I don't know, just watching that game on Saturday was like, this is a player. He's just turned 39, and I just don't think he's got much left to give now. Yeah, no,
I would agree with everyone else. I would say it's under, and just, I mean, if you haven't had a chance yet, do look at that replay of that foul. I mean, it was just, it was an awful foul. I mean, it was lazy. It was really, I don't know. It just says so much about. Yeah, exactly. He just looked really tired. So yeah, I can't see him getting more than 8.5 games. I guess still got to figure out how to do this over/under thing. Actually, I looked up and I put it up on the chat. I looked it up on the chat. On the chat, I was like, what is an over/under? It says so much about how little I do take part in sports gaming. But anywho, whatever that under is, which I assume is what is below this number, that is what I'm guessing right here.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
I'm still trying to figure it out. I looked at YouTube videos. I couldn't figure it out.
All it is on a match, are they going to score more than 3 goals or under 3 goals? And you just predict the same thing here.
I think it's confused because it says here 8.5.
Yeah, 8.5.
So like, what?
Yeah, what? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, if it's 8, you have to round up, so you have to do 8.5. Jason.
Well, if we put it at 8, people could say no, it'll be exactly 8. And no, you got to pick over or under. So that's why it's 8.5.
So after this, I'm just gonna become a sports gambling addict thanks to you guys. I just want to put it out there. So
it's good, healthy stuff right there. I actually go contrarian on this. I'm going to say over. I agree that his play dictates that it should be under, and everything that we've seen looks like a summer retirement makes a lot more sense than a trip to the World Cup. So I think under does make sense, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if he shows up again in Liga MX, even retires and unretires, and we get a few more games here, because it's just the way it goes, especially with someone as legendary as Rafa Marquez is. I wouldn't be surprised even if he sits out one of the short seasons and then he comes back for a few more games. So I think he's going to collect the matches somewhere, and I think he'll get a few more. But I think it does make sense that it would be less.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you on that one too. Over. For some reason, Rafa isn't going anywhere, even though we are all seeing that he should. But we've been saying that for how long, that Rafa should be leaving. Obviously, with the problems coming in, I don't think he's going to the World Cup unless, I don't know how they're going to do that with he can't even come to the United States to the practices to those games. So
probably a lot of Russia though.
Yeah, Russia's like, yeah, we're good. Come in, we're all right.
I mean, we've all been saying. I mean, yeah, we all have been saying for so long. Oh yeah, Rafa, he's going downhill, but Rafa, we need to find a replacement. But there's just so much going against him right now. I think that
replace him in Atlas.
I just still, I don't know. I mean. But now that I am the local gambling expert, I'm going to say, yeah, still going to the under.
But I think also what the Atlas president said last week, I think he spoke to Medio Tiempo, Guzman, and he said basically the plan is that Rafa retires this summer, that he goes to the World Cup, that the club's working to try and get him to the World Cup. But I just think everything's point, and that they're going to find a place within the club. They kind of want a position in the club where that Rafa can stay. And it was pretty funny because he said, it doesn't look like we're going to be champions this season. It's like,
hey,
so close.
Quiero creer is not a hashtag for Atlas right now.
Because Rafa said when he came back to Atlas, he said, I want to be champion with Atlas. And then now he's coming to the end. He's like, well, he's not going to be champion as a player, but he might be in the club as in another capacity.
4 points after 9 games. 4 points after 9 games. I don't know. Maybe there's still a chance there for a title, right?
All right. Continuing with our L3 and over-under, and we're going to go with Cesar on this.
Ooh, big mistake.
B.
Big mistake.
Our second one, 2018 World Cup starts for Marco Fabian at 0.5.
obviously he can't have 0.5 starts, so I'll go with the over. Yeah, I know he hasn't had a start yet. I know he hasn't started yet in the Bundesliga. He is fully fit now. I do think that eventually he's going to start to get more starts with Frankfurt, and I do imagine that he's going to force his way into the 11 eventually. I think maybe just at least for one game. But yeah, I'll go with the over and go with 1.
Well, it's 0.5 because if you go non, it'll be 0. Yeah. So therefore, no start to start. All right, cool.
So boom, 1 start.
All right, 1 start. Tom.
Yeah, I'll go with 1 start as well. I think Osorio will give an opportunity in one of the games, maybe even against Germany. But I think Fabian also, he's still got a lot to do, to get that level back. I mean, he came on over the weekend for Frankfurt, who lost against, was it Stuttgart, which is a really disappointing result for him. And he was trying, but he wasn't at his usual level, and that's expected when he's been out for so long. So I think he's still got quite a lot of work to do. I think he'd be in the squad, but to push for that starting spot.
There's questions with Fabian, as to what level he'll be in by the time the World Cup comes along. I think the squad in Frankfurt is so solid already. They've had, I think their season has been impeccable, and for him to enter that 11, it's just as complicated as Reyes, for example, in FC Porto. That now that Felipe and Marcano are back as center backs, and after the 5-0 defeat against Liverpool, it looks really bleak for Reyes to be a starter now till the end of the season, unless an injury happens. And the same with Fabian, I would say. I think Kevin Prince Boateng would have to get injured, something of that sort, for Fabian to be a starter. But I think his talent is there, is intact. We know what he can offer. It just depends on how healthy he is. So I'll say over as well. I mean, but not with the certainty that he's going to be a solid starter in El Tri,
Yeah.
If Fabian is starting, I feel like that's trouble for us. So I hope that he comes from the bench. Tecatito, maybe, some of that's coming in. All of our players in there, and because of coming in from an injury so far that he was gone for how many months, recuperating that time to getting back into shape. If we want to if it's after the quinto partido, that's fine because of all the games. But I'm gonna go with under. I don't think he starts in the World Cup for the 4 games that we're projected.
I'll say over. I think he's probably due 1 start as well. I think his form is certainly a question. I think Osorio is going to give him every benefit of the doubt, I think, along the way to get back into the squad. I would assume he's going to be in the squad, as Tom said. I agree with that. Although he has a lot of work to do to get up to that form. But I think if one position is going to be rotated in the World Cup between these matches, I don't think there's going to be tons of rotations. I think Osorio's going to keep it to a lesser degree than what we've seen in the past. But if one position is going to be rotated, it's going to be in some of those midfield spots. And I think I wouldn't be surprised in like the 2nd or 3rd match in the group stage to see Fabian pop onto that starting lineup.
After a couple of wins in the first 2 games, he can rest players and stuff. No
That's right. That's true.
Oh, yeah.
So after take down Germany,
couple of wins.
I think it all depends on the formation too. Obviously, if it was more of a 4-3-3, you would maybe have Herrera and Guardado. But maybe if you had maybe like a 4-2-3-1, you needed someone more as that center attacking midfield, more so as a number 10. Then you would look at someone like Fabian. That would make more sense as opposed to someone like Herrera. But I think it all depends on the formation as well.
All right. So
why did you say that? Why would you say that if he is starting, it would be a bad sign?
Well, because I mean, if you're looking at the starting 11, right? I just don't see him anywhere. If you have Chucky, Tecatito, Chicharito, Jimenez, I don't see him that Guardado, Herrera. I don't see him taken anywhere in the starting 11. I think if we're up 1-0 or if we're down, I can see him coming in as a sub. In that sense, but I really hope Tecatito's at his best. Chucky's at his best, Chicharito. And if everyone's good, I think people already have him over that. The only thing that I could maybe see is if against Korea or against Sweden, we need that type of playmaker where he can distribute the ball, that more of a 10 number, the number 10 role, then maybe I could see that as a starter. But I feel like if we lost against Germany, we tie or we win against Korea, that Sweden game is going to be super, super important. So, but if Chucky or Tecatito are not in there, and in the first game we get killed by Germany, and he does really well against the Germans because he knows that league, he knows a little bit level of his playing, then maybe we could see him in the second game. But I don't think he starts.
Yeah. On the chat, Lois Ziol, I don't even know how you pronounce that, is that he starts at most 1, but it's Osorio, guys. He could start like 2 out of 4.
Really quick, I didn't even see this in the chat until Jason's brought it up. But Senor Bautista did say about Rafa, he said it would be lucky to get 8.5 minutes. 8.5 games. So, yeah, funny right there. All right, we're going with the third over and under. Let's go. Number of Mexicans playing in Portugal after the World Cup. And first I read this as Porto, and I was like, that's hilarious. But it's number of Mexicans playing in Portugal after World Cup, and it's set at 4.5. And we're gonna go with Cesar to start this one.
Boom. Under. I mean, I think Layun, wouldn't be surprised if he was still there. I think maybe Tecatito too. This is me being a little optimistic, hoping that Herrera makes a move over the summer. Like, keeping my fingers crossed that a good season with Porto and that a good showing in the World Cup is going to eventually push them to another club. I do know, it looks like that Herrera has a contract to 2019 with Porto, but I mean, hopefully he can get something over the summer that pushes him out of that team. And what his contract is over this summer with Porto, and I'm still unsure whether they really feel like they need him. I know he's gotten some starts a little bit more this year, but I don't know. And I'm not entirely convinced that either he wants to be there or that Porto want to keep someone like that. And then Jimenez, I mean, I don't know. That's all completely up in the air right there. But yeah, I do think that, assuming that Herrera makes a move, assuming that, Reyes maybe doesn't stick around, yeah, I'll go with the under there.
I'll go under as well. Yeah, I think that I think Reyes is moving on. I don't think there's any much doubt about that. And I think Herrera as well, contract 2019. I mean, Porto want any money, then he's either going to sign a new contract or
Yeah.
this is the only opportunity for him to get any money for him. So I imagine he's going to move on as well. Raul Jimenez is due to move on, although I wouldn't say that's a certainty because I think they still want big money for him. But yeah, I'd say less. But then you got to take into account, Govea. Is his loan move gonna? Is he gonna? I mean, he's doing good things in Belgium. I mean, he might be an option with the first team. Junior Malek as well is doing superb for the youth team. So, I mean, I don't think he's going to be in the first team next year, but I think that some of those youth players as well. I don't know what the deal with Godinho is. I think he's kind of fallen off the radar a little bit, but
Cesar?
I mean, he's not even getting he's not even getting starts anymore for Apple. Yeah.
Cyprus, no?
Cyprus, yeah.
No, I want to say, I want to think it's going to be under, like Cesar explained, accordingly, to the possibilities of players moving on, but it could also be over, I think a player like Gutierrez could land in Portugal.
Yeah,
I think a player like Orbelin could also land in Portugal. Cesar Montes, let's not forget that Cesar Montes was already looked closely by Benfica at one point because Benfica came over to Monterrey to inaugurate the stadium, and they were impressed with Montes. And Montes, that was back when he was 17. Now, he's more mature. If he gets a World Cup spot, which is not legitimate, I think, as we have mentioned in the Patreon podcast, I mean, it's really hard for Montes to get in the World Cup. But, you never know. I mean, I think it would be a remarkable story if he does go to the World Cup, and that allows him to go to Europe, and Monterrey also allowing him to go. I think his time is up. But if when you see a development like Montes, I think he already proved what he had to prove in Liga MX. Maybe the Liga MX title is still something in his checklist. But he's been starting in Liga MX for the last 4 seasons, I would say.
And I would say over on this, and I'm kind of following up on what Naib was saying, because I think you're going to have probably at least 3 guys that are there now going to still be there. And I think there's probably going to be, I mean, if Porto are selling on a Mexican or two, I think they're going to probably want another Mexican or two. So I wouldn't be surprised if a few more pop over to Porto this summer as well. So I'm thinking there's going to be more than 4.5 by the end of the summer.
I'm going back to I'm just being selfish. I hope that there isn't because I don't get to watch Portuguese games over here.
So for that reason alone,
I'm going to go under. I hope it's 0. I can't find the package anywhere around here. And yeah, so hopefully it's 0. All right, let's go with the fourth question. Players under 23 on Mexico's World Cup squad. So under 23 World Cup squad, and it's at 2.5. And we'll start with Naib.
When I looked at this one, I checked the names, and the two that kind of stand out is Lozano and Edson Alvarez, no? So
that's why it's 2.5.
0.5, so I would go under. I would go under with
see how that works?
You see that's where we're explaining the
our researchers did their homework to make sure you don't go.
So I think I would go under with this. Well, the potential, like for example, of Montes getting in, that could increase it up. Orbelin, Gutierrez, and I think that's it. No, I don't know if there's a name there that might popped up, like
Jonathan Gonzalez
as well. Gobea. So the list is increasing, but I'll keep it under. I'll keep it under.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with under. I think those players that we just mentioned are in the mix. I think the only guaranteed one is obviously Lozano. I think Edson Alvarez, I mean, 2 months ago I would have said, yeah, he's there, he's in Russia. But honestly, the last couple of months, this season hasn't been great for him. I think he's had a bit of criticism from Miguel Herrera. He's been on the bench for America. And it's not just that. It's difficult to see him getting back in right now, with the team playing quite well. Obviously, that's not saying he can't do it, but this is a real challenge in his career. Perhaps the first real challenge that he's had since breaking through into the first team, going into the national team. I mean, it's been a meteoric rise, really, for Edson Alvarez, and now he's got to kind of redouble his efforts.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's under as well because I think there's only one lock here. I mean, it's Chucky, and all of these players that maybe 6 months ago you would think are definitely going to be in this World Cup squad, like some of the names you just mentioned with Guti and Alvarez, and even Cesar Montes they're all question marks. They could be in, but I think more than likely most of them are going to be out. So I think it's probably just going to be Chucky.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'll go the under there too. I mean, I think Edson and Lozano are the only two players that I think have a guaranteed spot. After that, I mean, there's a few names we've already discussed, but I know I'm still not convinced that they're going to be taken. So I'll go with the under. Stage just 2 with Lozano and Edson.
23.
I mean,
they have to be 23 and under, so not 22, but can still be 23, right?
Yeah.
Then the other name we not mentioned,
Gallardo.
Eric Gutierrez.
Jesus Gallardo is 23, and his birthday is in August.
I thought he turned 24.
August 15th, 1994.
What were you going to say about Gutierrez, Tom?
Sorry about that.
We just didn't mention. We hadn't mentioned Guti, and he's another one who, for me, I think you've got him, and who else? Orbelin, who are kind of right now just about on the outside, but especially Gutierrez, the way he's playing, I think he must have an outside shot at least.
You know what? I immediately thought of under, but then I think Jesus Gallardo's going and Chucky's going, and I think he's going to sneak a younger person in, Osorio in there, because he wants fast players, and he'll find someone that's like young and with a lot of stamina. I don't know who it is, but I'm gonna go with Osorio in that over 3.
Yeah. I mean, if you include Gallardo, I'll go over as well. But, I was including him as one of the older ones.
Yeah, and that's why I looked it up. So August, June, July. So he's there, under 23.
Yeah.
All right. We'll keep going. This is fun. All right. Second to last one. Number of starts left for Chicharito at West Ham. And I'll go to Jason since his Liverpool won. Chicharito didn't play. So
not so much. That was a good one to miss, though, really. But 10 matches left.
Wait, 5.5. Sorry. The number is 5.5 or more. So over
under 5.5. I think this is probably the easiest one on the list with an under. Starts for Chicharito. I mean, we might see more than 5.5 appearances. Starts, no. 10 matches left for West Ham in the league, and I mean, I don't know. I don't see a lot of starts coming. I think Lanzini's back in there, and I don't think it's possible that there's going to be a lot of starts left for him, and I don't think he's going to be there next year. So I think this is pretty much it, and there might be a handful at best, but that's about it.
Wow.
No way. So there's only 10 matches left.
I think that's right.
Time flies, man. 10 matches. I think it is.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I'd have to go, if it's only 10 matches left, you have to go under.
Yeah.
You know, well, I mean,
they don't
it's
have
depressing to say it, man. It's depressing to admit it, actually.
He doesn't have like a Copa. He doesn't have like a Copa MX of.
No, they're done with their side tournaments.
Something like that.
They're done with their side tournaments, unless if there's some
field or like.
I'm not sure the FA Cup could really be called the Copa MX of England, but not sure we want to make that comparison.
I'm just saying, there's no other like random matches that they have. I always thought like there's like.
I mean, they're definitely not the Copa MX of that region, which is the Carabao Cup. But
no, but they've not even got any. I mean, they haven't got any cup games, but they've not got any. No Europe, no nothing. Yeah. So
nothing.
So I mean, what that means is they play every weekend as well. So that indicates that there's not going to be rotations because there's no need to keep the squad fresh. They've got 7 days to train, and it's quite obvious. And I wrote about it in January after watching Huddersfield against West Ham in England, and I mean, I couldn't see, and I wrote he needs to get out of this club by the end of January. There's no way he's going to. Moyes is going to let him start games, no matter what he does. And what's happened since then? West Ham got an injury crisis up front. Pretty much all the forwards are out, and Chicharito started a few games. He's done well, to be fair to him. It's like I said on the countdown to Russia. I think it says a lot about his mentality that he's been able to, under Moyes, respond to to someone who clearly he's not enamored by him, and he's but at the end of the day, Lanzini comes back, and the first game he's not even been training for long. Lanzini, he's just straight back in there alongside Arnautovic. So it's just Andy Carroll's still out as well. So I don't know. It's been unlucky, Chicharito, because Moyes didn't bring him in. Bilic brought him in, and he was the main striker, the main forward, and I think he would have got it together. So he's just been unlucky for me.
And he had 2 goals in his 2 previous games. And then I feel like what more could he really have done? And then against Liverpool, he was a sub. I mean, I think that says a lot right there about how
he didn't touch the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I think that says a lot about how he's just. There's just no faith in him right now.
And Osorio in the crowd as well. I mean, how disappointing for the manager.
It's funny because we don't want to believe that it's like Moyes does not like Chicharito. You know what I mean? Like I know that came out. We're like, yeah, and we as a fan, and you can go, oh, he just doesn't like him. Get out of there. But then I'm like, no, it really cannot be it. Like there's no way. And this guy's scoring for you. So it just kind of questions, like, he really doesn't think Chicharito's. And I want to take the fan aspect of it because we want him to start every time. But even, West Ham fans, I was looking through their Twitter on the West Ham, Hammer fans, and they were all like, are you crazy? Why isn't he playing? Yep. So it's not just us being spastic about Chicharito doing it. Even these fans are like, why do you have Mario in there? And Chicharito not even playing after the half when they were down, and then to sub him for 8 minutes.
Just watch some West Ham fan TV on YouTube, and you'll see plenty of angry fans too.
8 minutes, and it's kind of a slap in the face. You're down 3-1, Jason? Was it?
That's right.
Yeah, 3-1, and it's here's Chicharito. Go ahead. Yeah. 8 minutes left. Just a big slap in the face.
But I mean, the only thing I would say is that it's not. It's just he doesn't fit the template of a striker that Moyes wants. I don't think it's a personal thing. I don't think it's like I'm not playing him. I don't like him. He wants to set up his team in a certain way. And if you play with Arnautovic, he give you so much more with his back to goal. He's a massive guy. You know what I mean? And I think Andy Carroll's there as well. And I think Moyes, if you're under a lot of pressure, for example, like West Ham against Liverpool, if you watch that game, it's like they're basically in the half all the game. And I think he wants a number 9 who they can, if they're in trouble, fire the ball up to him and he holds it up and try and, kind of conjure a counter attack. And I think Moyes is aware that Chicharito isn't that player. And I think that's why Osorio advised Moyes to play him on the wing. I mean, a lot was made of it in Mexico. People were making fun of Osorio, but I think that's basically the reason that Chicharito isn't going to be a David Moyes number 9.
Osorio advising him. That's, man. Long tentacles Osorio has.
Lanzini might end up being in Argentina's roster in the World Cup. So we're not talking about any player there. To make that 23-man roster, you got to be good.
He's quality, Lanzini, absolutely. Yeah. Brilliant player, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, last over and under question. Combined 2018 World Cup goals for Chucky and Tecatito. The experts have it at 2.5. Over or under? I'll go to Mr. Naib.
Over. I think in this era of Osorio, Chucky and Tecatito have been important. I think they offer a lot on the wings, and there is a sense of kind of expectation as to how Tecatito will do, because we haven't seen Tecatito in a tournament of this sort. This is going to be his first World Cup. He didn't play in the Confederations. He's not a starter in Porto by any means right now. I think it's because it's Brahimi, Marega, Abubakar, and if Abubakar is out, is Suarez. I understand that point, but I think he's brought his A game, in big occasions in this process. So I think both of them will get more than those 2.5 starts. No.
Yeah,
Anyone
I
under?
agree.
I mean, I'll go under.
You'll go under.
A bit different. I don't know. I mean, generally don't get a lot of goals in the World Cup. I think you can see Lozano. It's so much responsibility on Lozano when you look at this Mexican attack right now. But I think with Tecatito, there's no guarantee that he starts games, and so I think that's the thing with Tecatito. I mean, if he wants to play Lozano on the right, then I think he'll play Lozano on the left, then I think he'll play Vela on the right. If Vela comes in on form, we don't know. I mean, I'm not saying Tecatito's definitely not going to start games, but I think there's a question mark there. And yeah, I can't see any of these games, South Korea or Sweden being particularly high scoring. I mean, especially the Sweden game. I mean, Sweden are pretty brutal, aren't they, for the way they close down games. I mean, just look at that Italy game. I mean, sitting back and let's see. I'll go 2.
Maybe I have too much faith in Chucky. Maybe I really do think this is going to be a breakout tournament for him, but I'm going to go with something a little crazy here and think that I think we'll see 5 goals. I think we'll see 4 from Lozano and 1 from Tecatito. I don't know.
That'd be the best.
That would go crazy in that Korea game.
That would be the best performance by a Mexican player in the World Cup.
He's been killing it there at Eredivisie, man. There is a lot of responsibility on him on the wing. I don't know. I mean, I'm probably gonna look like an idiot, and then someone's gonna take this video after Chucky gets no goals and be like it says that he's such an idiot, thinking he's gonna get 4 goals.
This is such a believer. That's what I like what I said. He's such a believer. Yeah. I actually would go with under, because I'm looking at last World Cup. Put all forwards together. I don't think they scored more than 3 goals. Right? So Chicharito scored, Gio scored, Peralta scored. I think that's it, right?
Guardado scored.
Guardado's not
Rafa
a forward.
scored.
Rafa's not a forward. Yeah. So I'm like, that's why I'm like, it's 3 players could not even score 3 goals. So I would go under. I think if they both score 1 goal each, a penalty kick here or there, and maybe a defense off a corner kick, I don't see that many goals. I'm with Tom on this one. I'm going to go under, especially those types of players. I see Chicharito, Peralta, Jimenez maybe score those 2, but coming from those 2 guys on the wings, we'll be there.
Yeah, I'd probably say under as well. No Eredivisie defenses in the World Cup. I don't know. I think there's a good argument to be made that if Mexico are going to score with the dependence upon these players, that it could. But I kind of agree with Tom that Tecatito's minutes, we don't really have any guarantee about his minutes in this World Cup. His starting spot is not necessarily guaranteed. I think he's probably going to play in most matches if he doesn't start. With him making an appearance is likely, but I don't know. Yeah, I could see them each getting a goal, but hopefully it's more, but easily less. I'd go under as well.
Senor Bautista on the chat said, "Fam, we only get 4 games. How could he score 4 goals?"
It's fair. It's fair.
All right. Well, that was our over and under game. We took a little bit longer, and I'm getting rest over here with. We got to keep going, so we're just gonna go straight right in. Liga MX's latest. Really quick, Tom. I will go to you. You wrote a great article, ESPN. I got a chance to read it. That kind of gave us a little run through of what's happening, especially with Lobos and Veracruz on that side, and then when we were all together with Pumas and Chivas with the Liga MX and chill. So Tom, take it over with Liga MX. Half of the season, the 2 points separates. I think was it the second and the 9th, 10th, 11th spot. I mean, there's so much competition there. The ones in the end are already out, and we're already started. But there's a lot to go in. So give us our little Liga MX recap.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, third place Monterrey. You've got Toluca, Pumas, Tigres, Pachuca, Puebla, Necaxa, Tijuana, Morelia, León, all within 4 points there. So it's really tight. I mean, we say that every season, but I feel like this season's particularly tight. This is the result of the weekend. Lobos Buap beating Veracruz 5-0. Basically, looks like Veracruz are completely doomed now to relegation, apart from the fact that we don't know if relegation will exist. We don't know. We just don't know. So because you've got all this talk about the league being expanded to 20 teams, and the rumors in the press is that the team that goes down this season will keep the place, and obviously the team that comes up, so you'll get an extra team or two. I don't know. Anyways, relegation's up in the air, so I don't know. It kind of put a bit of a downer on that game for me because it's like when Querétaro went down and then they kind of shuffled across a few clubs and suddenly they were back in. I don't know. I don't know. I hope they do sort out the relegation system because for me it doesn't work right now. But yeah, Tijuana, massive defense there in the Azteca. Managed a 0-0 draw. Lajoud, absolutely brilliant in goal. I think it was a performance that promoted his national team credentials. Really, I mean, I thought he was very good. And then you're looking elsewhere. Santos Laguna. I mean, we've not mentioned them much, but it's a team that's starting to make sense now. I think Gallito Vasquez, that signing. I mean, he didn't create massive headlines, but I mean, if you want a player who's won Liga MX titles and who's absolutely knows this league and is going to strengthen that defensive midfield role, then really Gallito Vasquez is absolutely perfect. And I mean, what a signing that was for Santos Laguna to bring him in from Chivas, and let go of 2 players that weren't necessarily guaranteed starters in Ronaldo Cisneros and Gael Sandoval. I mean, 2 guys that are on the bench now for Chivas. So that was possibly the deal of the transfer window for Santos. But
the year if Santos goes on to go far in the season.
Yeah, 100%. And the strugglers, I mean, Cruz Azul now 1 win in 9. Alarm bells are ringing. I mean, you watch the TV program down here in Mexico, and it's all about Cruz Azul and Caixinha. What's happened? Why can't they get it together? And then the 2 Guadalajara clubs. I mean, Chivas in 17th, Atlas in 18th. I mean, once again, you got this kind of dichotomy of the Monterrey teams, Tigres and Rayados, just being real forces in this league. And then you got Guadalajara, similar sized city, with arguably more, well, definitely more history in terms of football. And you got these 2 teams once again at the bottom of the league, so it's pretty depressing if you live here.
No visits to the playoffs for you this season, Tom.
Chivas is mathematically. Nah, they're not gonna make it.
Yeah, no, that's my wrap. And then obviously the Pumas Chivas game, we did the Liga MX and chill, and I mean, Oswaldo Alanis with that last minute penalty, blasts it over. I don't know. I mean, Chivas.
Yeah, it's so ironic, no, that it landed on Alanis and the drama that has been surrounding Alanis since the start of the year, no, and he was the person in charge to get that goal for Chivas, no. But I think and it's Clásico Nacional week, no, so it's gonna be an interesting one for Chivas and for Guadalajara, no. I think what I was reading in the last minutes is that it's gonna be sold out already, no. America Chivas and America heading to Guadalajara as the only Liga MX unbeaten side so far, this season.
Yeah, like how many weeks is this in a row now that we've watched these Chiefs matches, and we've kind of commented and have noted that they've played better. They've played pretty well.
Yeah.
They just can't score, and it's just like over and over again. It's the same repeated thing. Like at first, I was like a little unlucky not to get the result, but it's just this repeated pattern with them now, and it's rough going into this match in America, where you're going up against pretty stout defense. Then it's going to be. I mean, it's hard to be optimistic about Chivas going into this, but man, they really just need a little luck here more than anything, just to get some of these goals, because I mean the opportunities are there week in and week out for them.
Yeah, let me reverse that a little bit in terms of the Clásico this weekend, because I agree with it. I completely agree. But the other thing is, I think teams are working out Chivas and sitting back and just kind of soaking up the pressure. America's not going to do that. America's going to go at them. And I think the way this Chivas defense is performing, I mean, this is a dangerous game for Chivas, because if America start firing and Mene and Cecilio Dominguez and Oribe Peralta's playing up there, and
Mateus Uribe, who didn't play against Cholos.
Yeah, I mean, if those guys decide to turn it on, then I worry a lot about Chivas when they've got Michael Perez, who's not playing great in front of the defense. The centre back duo that keeps swapping every game. I mean, the fullbacks who aren't playing well for me. I mean, I think it's a really dangerous game, this, for Chivas.
And of course, we've talked about in the past how a Clásico is a series within itself. It doesn't matter what form certain squads are in. Clásico is Clásico. Sometimes a team that's struggling can really step up and get a win here. But I don't know, man. Just the way that, from what we've seen from Tigres, from what we've seen from America, I mean, just all signs point to it could be a pretty easy win here for America.
I can't believe you guys didn't say anything about the León. I'm waiting for this wrap up. 1-1, and then. Are we
gonna say anything about Tuca's playoff idea? Did you guys hear about that? Or he was thinking that as opposed to just having the current Liga set up, you'll have 2 groups of 4. And then from there, you have those teams face off against each other within that group. And then you have, basically, if people already thought that Liga MX is confusing to begin with, why would we even do this? But yeah, look it up. Tuca's got some crazy Liga ideas right now.
Totally miss it. All right, Clásico Nacional, Sunday? You remember this Sunday, right?
Saturday?
Saturday? Well, look it up.
We should probably know this, shouldn't we?
It's when I said Sunday, I'm like, wait a second, we're in there. Just like you said. All right.
9 p.m., no Saturdays, Chivas.
That's right. We'll make sure to get that before we'll probably do more Liga MX and chill. But as of now, it is we're on the 48th mark, and we wanted to take some time really quick, so to give a quick announcement regarding the show. So we're all here today, and we're actually waiting on Amy. She should be jumping on, and she's just be coming on. But we got quite the announcement today. Not Amy. To hurry up and get on.
If we yell, she'll hear us. Yeah.
But we'll go ahead and begin, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Naive Moran, who's going to give us this announcement. Naive, the floor is yours, sir.
The floor is mine. It's a special day, I would say, for me. I think it all started in 2012 when I got the direct message from Tom. I was a college student, a senior in Villanova. And he told me, "Oh, do you want to talk in the Mexican soccer show about Mexican football?" And, at the time I was an exciting, senior in high school that wanted to live his dream and do the talking about the game. And that's how it all started, my time in the Mexican soccer show. And since then, it's been 6 years. All the books, every book has chapters. You got to start the chapters and end the chapters. For me, this is the time to end this chapter here in the Mexican Soccer Show. It's a personal decision of mine. I know that the timing is probably not the best because we have a World Cup ahead of us. But I saw it as the best moment, to sort of step aside and look at other ventures that might be possible in the future. I don't know what exactly those ventures will be. They might be tied to football because I'm just in love with the game that I don't know if I'll be able to live without it basically. But it's this decision that I think has been cooking for the past months. I think behind the scenes we've talked about it. This team is extraordinary. This is the Liga MX English source per excellence, por excelencia, and it will still be even without me. So this podcast in itself has given me so many friendships as that I can say. It's been something really special for me because when I started this passion about Mexican football when I was like 15. I didn't think I was going to get this big. Right now I'm 27 already. So look, it's been 12 years of when I started the dream of like, shoot, maybe I can write about English and talk in English about Liga MX. So I feel that we've gone huge, like it's been so big already. I mean, just last week, El Tri got an English Twitter account. And the reason they got one is because they've been hearing us for the past, 2, 3 years, 4 years, I would say. So it took them long. It was about time. I mean, instead of, now we're talking, they should have been hashtag it's about time that you got another Twitter account. But I feel that, this team is extraordinary. And I'll still do the Patreon episode on Wednesday. And, it is a goodbye, but, I'll still get on the show, especially if we get to the Quinto Partido. I'll freaking get on the show for sure. It's the moment to show up. I don't know if we don't make it out. I don't know if I'll show up, but definitely in the Quinto Partido, my presence will be there. So, but it's a decision of mine, and we'll see exactly what the future holds.
Well, Naive, I'll be the first to say that you are going to be dearly missed, man. So much knowledge that you brought to the game. Even though we can do as much research, you always brought a different perspective. Some random name that we didn't know about, some coach's name that he came in, and you always had so much knowledge to it. And I remember my first time listening to you and looking at you. I think you were in Spain, and we were doing the Mexican Soccer Show. Your commitment to it was totally different time, and you were there for a while, and you continue to do it. And you, just like you said, chapters sometimes have to come to an end. We're going to continue to be friends. Awesome time we spent together in San Antonio. Hopefully we'll continue to do that and celebrate more. But for myself and I know the Food Next Nation family, we're definitely going to miss you, brother. And then yeah.
Yeah, Naive, you're like our metronome, man. Like sometimes we get a little too wacky. I'd say some dumb stuff, but like you would immediately like bring us back, like somehow seamlessly. You're always you're so constantly professional. That's something I've always admired about you. So obviously you'll be very missed, Naive.
No, thank you. You're gonna make me cry.
Fun times. I know Amy joined on to say goodbye too. She's normally she's live tweeting, so she wants to say goodbye to and wouldn't miss this.
I'm gonna be sad. You're the only person that I haven't been like in person, so I mean we'll figure it out. We'll arrange something.
Yeah. So I haven't met him in person yet either. I'm still not sure if he's real or not.
But just like Cesar said, it was live tweeting was always like, all right, they're kind of talking about jokes. All right, I'm not. And then Naive would come in and he would have this eloquent thing to say, and I'm like, all right, I got to put that in here. It's been such a blast. I mean, the show's gonna go on, but it's gonna lack something with you not on it. That's for sure. So we're gonna
Gracias, Amy.
On the chat now it says funny because it goes Mexican Soccer Show, not enough American fans now. ¿Ya ves? No American fans. All right.
One American fan. I'll have to put out a want ad for something like that, right? If there's any out there.
All right. Well, there's a lot of people on the chat already saying, "What the heck, Naive?" I know is definitely something that surprising. Adios from Pancho Villa's army, our friends. But we're gonna hold you to that, Naive. You know, we get to that quinto partido. You're hosting the next podcast after that.
Yeah.
Okay. We're getting that. Anybody else? Tom, Jason? I mean,
no, yes, sad times, but you know, it's been a good few years, definitely, and you know, the countdown to Russia as well been really good there, and yeah, best of luck everything moving forward, and yeah, I mean, for you now, from you know, because there's not many people who have come, you know, to Mexico and covered, you know, Mexican football in English. From your perspective, what you say, you know, maybe your favorite team to watch, your highlight from not just the show, but kind of being in Mexico and you know, getting to a grip with a league that you grew up with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a league that I grew up with. I mean, it was the early mornings of watching America, Toros Neza. You know, the early mornings when Chivas played at noon. We would watch Chivas because my mom is a Chivas fan. So, you know, I would watch all the Chivas games. When my dad, I would watch all the America games because he's Americanista. So, I think one of the reasons I came to Mexico is because of this identity. You know, I'm Mexican American, but I have my Mexican roots well instilled in me from my parents and, you know, my uncles and my tias and my grandparents. So it was really important to come down here and live this. You know, it's been I've been living here since 2015, and I'm leaving in 2018. You know, it's almost 3 years living down here. And I wanted to know the football from the ground. You know, I really wanted to know Mexican football while being present, you know, in Cuapa, for example, even when I went to Guadalajara to Omni Life, you know, now Estadio Akron, to Pachuca, you know, to see a laboratory, because it's a football laboratory, what Pachuca has done in the years, and to see it, I wanted to have a good grasp of that. You know, I wanted to know more about the football game from the ground via being a journalist. And I think I accomplished that in some way or another. You know, one of the things also that was one of my main goals coming down here was to talk to as many young Mexican footballers as I could. You know, I talked to Edson, talked to Rodolfo Pizarro, Orbelin, you know, what other ones? Michael Perez was a good interview that I had with him, you know, good chat. You know, I wanted to know more about the Mexican footballer, the young one, how he thinks, how he acts, how he thinks off the field, impressions about the games. All those type of details I think were important. I also wanted to, you know, recently I talked to Gallito Vasquez as well. And I think Gallito Vasquez personifies the Mexican footballer, you know, because he's a guy that had nothing, like zero things, you know. He just came from the ground up, and now look where he's at. You know, we're talking about a guy that won the Bicampeonato with León, won with Chivas, scoring a goal in the final, you know, and now in Santos, he could potentially win another league title. He went to the 2014 World Cup. In my opinion, Gallito was the best one on the field. So to talk to him was important. I talked to Vucetich. You know, Vucetich, I think, was also an important interview that I had because, you know, he's a winner. You know, not that many managers have won that many league titles. You know, and to have experience that, I think has been extraordinary. Now I have a good grasp of the Mexican game. Now my dream would be to find ways to help it out. You know. And we'll see exactly how that goes on in the future.
Good stuff.
Naib, I'm wondering, you know, from my time living in DF, and since I've left, I think like part of that city is still a part of me. And I'm kind of wondering if your plans are leaving Mexico, what's that part of that city? Because that city is just, I mean, so much character. What do you think is going to stick with you the most after you leave DF?
I think it's going to be the tamale van, me.
No, I think it's a bustling city. You know, they call it La Ciudad de la Furia. You know, fury. You know, it's always bustling, no matter if it's 5 a.m. or 3 a.m., 2 a.m. There's a lot of color in Mexico City. You know, it's just a colorful city where, you know, whenever the Mexican sees someone that is struggling, no matter if it's, you know, the old lady or the young lady or vice versa, the young man or the old man, you always want to help them. You know, I think I saw that in the September 19 earthquake. I mean, I think that's the moment that really struck with me, was how people just walk out of their houses with their shovels, and they went out there and helped. It was a natural instinct. I think that's what the Mexican person has, is that instinct of helping out always. And I think that's kind of something that has to be copied into the national team. When Mexico plays solid as a unit and they help each other out for a certain goal, I think that's when Mexico plays the best football. And you see that with its people. I think that's what Mexico City that really struck me. I mean, it's really kind. I mean, I think it opens its arms to anybody, and it's not just about Mexico City. I think it's about the whole country here. And I'm not saying this because I'm Mexican. I'm saying it because I think that's what characterizes us. We live in a country where we see a lot of violence. There's always talking about kidnappings, about the narco, and all this, but it makes you appreciate life more. It makes you realize that shoot, man, my mom might come tomorrow, and I don't know. So I must make this day the best that I can. And I think that is something that really struck.
Yeah, we're good.
Well said, sir.
Yeah, definitely well said.
Yeah.
You must make this day the day we come. Naib, thank you from all of us again. I know on the chat, somebody said red card, Naib, by the way. Keep it funny, but I know we've gone a little bit over. Thanks again for everything. We'll continue to obviously stay in touch, and we'll hold you to that Quinto Partido to come back, and we'll be there. And good luck with everything, with what you do. Keep us in touch with with your travels and on your next endeavors. And for that, we'll end the show. And even though you've been speaking last 10 minutes, Naib, I'll have you if there's anybody else that would like to say something else. Not we'll have Naib close the show one for last time. Or Cesar, go ahead.
Really quickly, yeah. Just I want to tell Naib, it's just like, I don't know, thank you, man, because I think that I know we've been working together for a few years now, but before I started to do this professionally, you were doing it before me, and that you were a clear inspiration. I mean, the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing right now is thanks in part to you, man. So I want to just thank you, man.
No, Cesar, that means a lot. I mean, I think this for me, I can't describe it really, because I think it's been a dream. I think it's sort of been, you work hard for it and you make it happen. To close it out, one advice, because I get those messages from the youth, the college students, and they're always like, "How, Naib, I want to do what you're doing, and I want to make it happen." You got to be prudent with this career. I think this career is one where it requires you to have knowledge of another career there. No, so for example, you study something, but you have this as a second career kind of. Journalism is natural. I mean, you got to know how to write, and you got to know how to read. In that, you can be a judge, you can be a political science or whatnot, whatever major, and you can still be a sports journalist. So one advice to the youth is to read a lot. If you really want to do this, you got to be reading a lot. Like anything, it can be dumb reading or smart reading. Anything counts, because sometimes the dumb reading can be well written and it's nice. And the good read, I think that's one of the advice that I would say to them. Join the conversation as well. I mean, don't come at me and tell me, oh, I want to do what you're doing, but you don't have nothing to show it. Like a blog or a podcast or doing videos on YouTube that show some type of analysis. Do something. I mean, at the beginning of the show, we talked about the hashtag El3ENG. If you write stuff and you put that hashtag on your blog, we're gonna read it probably, and we're gonna be like, oh shoot, this guy is writing nice things. And the same goes with Liga MX ENG. I think the future is bright. I think a lot of people are looking at us as people for inspiration. And I think it's gonna get stronger. I mean, at the end of the day, in USA, the league that is mostly watched is Liga MX, and it will continue being Liga MX. And we're responsible to kind of still increment it, because the millennials are important nowadays. The millennials don't know that much Spanish. I mean, they'll laugh when they hear Pedro Bermudez gritar gol and whatnot. They want to read some type of analysis in English, and that's where, for example, Tom Marshall comes in, and Jason, and Wiso, and Cesar, and Amy. And then I think this is gonna be how everything's gonna work on. So I mean, this is the best podcast in English. and just keep listening to it because it's gonna keep getting better.
All right, Naeem. Thank you for that, man. I think we could continue talking. The friendship is still there, and you'll always have a home here with the Mexican Soccer Show. We'll continue to be friends. Amigos, amigas, thank you for joining us on the show. I know it was sad news, but hopefully, we'll hear more from Naive later on, and we'll be like, that guy was on the Mexican Soccer Show one time. I remember.
We're gonna miss you, Naive. We're gonna miss you,
Naive. Yeah.
I miss you guys. All right. So, para que no lloremos, we're stopping the broadcast now. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you guys on hopefully you join us on Patreon for the Countdown to Russia podcast. It's getting good. It's getting really, really good. And we'll show us obviously every Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific on the Mexican Soccer Show. Amigos, amigas, hasta la próxima.